Mr. President.
Senator Lucio, for what purpose?
Senator Davis, yield.
I will
Not give up the floor.
I will happy to yield to you, Senator Lucio, but I do not yield the floor.
I appreciate the tone of conversation that just took place between you and Senator Duell. I want to have the same type of conversation, one that's sincere, and I know that you speak from your heart, and I do too. As you well know, I have a great deal of respect in everything you said about respect you have for Senator Duell. I have for you and more. I think we know that. I did want to take just in a very nice way issue with the first thing you said in your opening remarks when you said that, and you set up the categories, two categories of legislators who are either or why they're supporting this bill. You said partisanship, which I don't fall under.
No, you do not.
Because I'm a Democratic pro-life legislator. And then the strength, lacking the strength to oppose it. And I know on the contrary, you know that I do have an inner strength that supports, you know, this bill, and that strength is in the name of my faith as a Roman Catholic. I really also took issue with one of the letters that you read that said that some of us were showboating because of our religious beliefs, and I take issue with that because that's never been the case with this legislator anyway. I take it at heart in everything I do, and I've joined with you and others in supporting funding, you know, for health care, and it pained me and it hurt me deeply 2 sessions ago, or last session, when we cut health care by $7.2 billion in this state, and education by 5.4. However, the reason we stand here today is because I made a decision to honor a colleague, yes, and I voted against suspension yesterday. Yes. And I did it because it was the right thing to do. It was the Christian thing to do, in my belief, because our colleague had lost her grandchild and her father and was tied up with family to be able to get by the day with so much hurt. And I joined with her last night, and I paid my respects on behalf of the entire Senate and staffs. So I decided to go ahead and allow this to start today. One vote. That's how powerful a Senate vote is sometimes. One legislator, one vote can change the way things happen. And I wish you well physically and mentally, because I know that you have a deep resolve in what you believe, and you're going to take this to the midnight hour and kill this bill. I feel awful about that for various reasons, because I know there's so many abortions going on a daily basis in this state and this country. Senator, are you aware of how many abortions have taken place since Roe versus Wade started in 1973 up to date?
Senator, you gave us a piece of paper on the floor the other day that had that number, but I don't recall it. You'll have to refresh my memory.
Well, for those that are here and not aware, there's been 56,353,184. Now, statistics that our internet show, and today there was 2,206 abortions so far in the United States. This year, 581,166,000 in the United States. By Planned Parenthood, 163,959. And due to rape and incest, 5,637. My heart really hurts when I hear those two words, rape and incest. You know, I love women because I have fond memories of my grandmothers, my mama, who I thank for life. I'm one of 10 kids, as you well know, so we were reared being pro-life. We even adopted a sister because she was dying, and my dad had the heart of gold, brought her home, and she's 61 years old now. Got home about 4 months. She was 4 months old. So to me, it's easy to stand before this body or anywhere in public and talk about the sanctity of life and the importance there is for us to be thankful about life. The letters that you wrote were heartfelt, and I cried inside when you were crying because of the hardships that women face in this world. But I also thought about the 56 million plus babies that would never be born, would never be able to write a letter to their legislators talking about how they felt about life and how grateful they might have been, for their mothers to be giving them that opportunity. The point I want to make is that the majority of abortions that are being conducted are in this state and country as a result of unwanted pregnancies. And that is hard for me to understand, because there's so many out there that I also run into who want to adopt someone. They want a baby. They can't have babies. And yet we haven't talked 1 minute on this floor or in committee about the rights of the unborn. No one's talked about the rights of the unborn. They don't have any, quite frankly, because of Roe versus Wade. And it pains me to know, because of my religious belief, that we'll continue, because of the death of this bill, continue to see more death. I talked about a culture of death, and why shouldn't I talk about that when I see the statistics before me that are true? And it pains me just to know that more will die during this debate right now. And if the governor doesn't call for another special session where we won't have an opportunity to address this issue, then more will die. I share with you, I agree with you, and I share your thoughts about helping women find the necessary health care services they deserve other than abortions. And I make that very clear here today. I will continue, and my record speaks for itself, to vote, and I even supported Planned Parenthood, for them to be funded on everything other than anything that led to abortions. Yeah. Because I will continue to fight for the unborn. I will continue to speak for them, because they can't speak for themselves. They will never have an opportunity to sit down and write me a letter, or you a letter, or anyone a letter, or in a schoolhouse, or grow up and have their own babies. So I just needed to make that statement while those that are here today listen on. And I urge everyone to go home and write their mamas a letter and thank them for being pro-life, or else they wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be here today. I think those that got here today are very fortunate to have a mom or a dad or either one that thought it necessary for them to live so that they too could enjoy life as God would want us to. And I thank you for this heartfelt conversation, because I have a greater respect for you.
Senator Lucio, you are one of my dearest friends in the Senate chamber, and I believe you have a compassionate heart beyond compare. And as I read some of the letters that folks have written to us on this particular issue, and they've called upon us to be pro-life in all regards if we're going to be pro-life. And I would suggest that you are the template that exhibits that. Not only do you stand very firmly based on your faith. And I know it is a deep faith. I see you every day reading your Bible on your iPad as you sit here on the Senate floor. I know that your decisions on these issues comes from that very deep place of faith. I also know that you are a man who fights for children in need. I watched you this session work on
Gotta eat.
the food bill, and I watched how hard it was for you, and I saw the sadness and the despair that you had day after day as you tried to convince a two-thirds majority of the Senate to suspend so that your bill to feed hungry children in school could pass. In all respects, you've demonstrated a care and concern after a child is born, before so. And you are consistent beyond compare, and I respect you tremendously. I'm sorry that we disagree on this particular issue. I think that by your very comments, though, clearly your understanding, your hope for what this bill would achieve is that abortion services would decrease in Texas. I don't think that that's been the stated purpose for this bill. It's been stated that it's to make women who are having an abortion safer and provided better health care. But I appreciate your candor. I appreciate your support of the incredible good work that organizations like Planned Parenthood do to try to get that number down, that very alarming number that you read. I don't think there's a person on this floor who would say that we should feel good about that. And I know that you've supported making sure that women have access to family planning and health care services, which I believe is the number one way we'll get that number down. And I thank you for your support on those issues.
Thank you, Senator Davis. I just, 56.3 million is 2 times the population of Texas and growing. And let's continue to find the funding necessary for children with special needs, women with everyday needs, but let's also try to find a way of ending abortion. I just feel that we have neglected the rights of the unborn at this point in Texas, and I hope that we can take a good turn to the right or left, but not go down the same path we've been on for so long. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.